Today I'm off to see a dystopian survival horror film known as The Long Walk, which is directed by Francis Lawrence and stars Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Garrett Wearing and Mark Hamill. So let's get into the plot. In a dystopian United States ruled by a totalitarian regime, a group of young men enter an annual walking contest in which they must maintain a speed of at least 3 miles per hour or risk execution. The contest ends when only one walker remains alive. Now, for anyone who watches my channel regularly, you'll know that I'm not at my local cinema today. I'm in Bletchley, Milton Keynes, as I'm filming another vlog which is to do with a fan convention. You can check that one out. It's either coming out before this video or afterwards. But it's always nice to come and see a different cinema. I have been to this one a few times in the past though. Now, this film is based on the 1979 novel of the same name by Stephen King, and amazingly has been on and off development since 1988, when the late George A. Romero was asked to direct. Since then, the project's been passed on to multiple studios and multiple directors before ending up with Francis Lawrence. Lawrence made his directorial debut back in 2005 with the film Constantine. And since then, he's gone to direct other films like I Am Legend, Water for Elephants, the Hunger Games series, which I really like, and Red Sparrow. Excitement level, it's about mid-level because I saw the trailer just the other day and it does actually look like quite a fun movie. Seems every year we have a film come out that's got Stephen King's name attached to it. But did you know there's over 60 of his novels that have been adapted to film? Some of those have been The Shining, Carrie, Children of the Corn, Pet Sematary, Dark Tower, and even Shawshank Redemption. I haven't seen many of his, and that does include The Shining, but from what I have seen of his, I did really like. So I love the Green Mile, and I also like The Running Man. We're going to get a remake of that in November. So now I'm going to head in. Really can't wait for that movie. As you look around here, we have the gallery upstairs, so it's nice you can sit and get a drink before heading into the film. Of course, there is a cost that comes with that. I've never seen any of Downton Abbey. Can I go and watch the new film without having seen the others? So I've just scanned my ticket and I'm actually going to go and grab some snacks because I forgot to get some. But as always guys, if you do enjoy the content, do press like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. So I'll see you with my thoughts after the screening. So the film has just finished, so I'm going to go over the highlights and then the hang-ups, starting with the highlights. This film was very much like the Hunger Games, where you have the dystopian future and the government that rules over all, and you've got a whole bunch of people, young adults, entered into this contest where there can only be one winner. Now, of course, this story was written long before the Hunger Games, so I don't know if the writer of the Hunger Games was inspired by this story, because this is one of Stephen King's very first stories that he wrote. But because it had that vibe to it, I really enjoyed it. First of all, the performances were absolutely excellent by the entire cast. You had Cooper Hoffman, who is the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, may he rest in peace. And then you had David Johnson, who the only performance I've seen him outside of this film is Alien Romulus, which he gave a fantastic performance in that too. So loved those two both in it. Cooper Johnson played Raymond, and then David Johnson played Peter. Their performances were so great because they really made you feel every emotion that they got across, their friendship, their heartbreak. I really liked the way this film started out. I mean, it literally just throws you straight into the plot of the film, which is great. As the film begins, you get like some opening text, which is written in a way as if it's the letter that the participant would have received to tell them that they're joining this contest, the Big Long Walk. And right from the off, we're following Raymond as his mum drops him off in the car to the race. Fair play to Judy Greer. She's not in it that much. She plays Raymond's mum, and she gave a great performance because it starts out by her saying, you know, good luck and come back safe, to then she just has a moment where she just grabs him, holds on to him, and the emotion really comes out that, you know, this could be the last time she sees her son. And it really affected me. I actually felt that I sort of like welled up a little bit, probably because I'm a father. How interesting that we literally just met these characters and they were able to make you feel something right from the beginning. So just before our group of young adults set out on this journey, they meet the Major, who's played by Mark Hamill, who gives a fantastic performance. He's got some of those lines that really just stick with you. They make you laugh, but at the same time they really add to the nastiness of his character. And they are told by him the rules of this. There's no end of the race. They have to walk until only one of them is left. And it makes you realise that if you were in such a race, you'd probably be one of the dead guys. And they do go into all the different ways that some of these guys would slip up on a walk like this. Some showing their naivety for joining in the first place. Some where, like, you know, things that are out of your control, like your legs cramp up, or if you needed the toilet, how would you do? Would you just go as you walk along? And they do show you things like that in real detail. So just to warn you. Which brings me on to the brutality of this film. It does not hold back. I saw the trailer, and if you are going to watch this, I would say skip the trailer completely. When I watched it, I got enough of a vibe to know that I was going to probably enjoy this, but then I turned it off halfway through because they did start to show certain characters struggling in that, and you can work out just from that they're probably going to be the ones that are not going to make it to the end. So speaking to how brutal this is, you don't just hear like a gunshot go off, or sometimes you do, but other times you literally see people's heads getting proper blown off. Now you might say, why do you need to show them that? But I really do think it adds to the horror and the scare of, you know, if you don't keep walking, you're going to end up just like that person. So I think it was kind of important to show that off, even if it was very hard to watch. And it was made all the more harder to watch because the cast did such a great job of making you really start to like these characters, even the ones you're not really supposed to like. There was Tut Noyet, I don't know if I've said that right. He played Arthur. He was very, very good. You really cared about him. Also Ben Wang, we recently saw him in Karate Kid Legends. Great performance. Also Christopher Plummer. I really enjoyed his character and how different it was from the other characters. Early on he makes a decision which kind of haunts him later on, and he really kind of solved that conflict that was going on in his mind. Several times in the film I did actually find myself starting to well up, as you could see, like, you know, you just see as a character just stops walking, you're like, oh no, please start walking again. And so, you know, hats off to the cast for that, because if without that you would have been just like, okay, there goes another guy. This film had just a few humorous moments, not very many, very, very light on it. This film is very, very bleak. But I am saying that as a positive because I really felt like I went on this journey with them. Hang-ups. I have to say I really could have done with a bit more world building from this film, because you have the regime that is responsible for this whole thing and the society around them that lets this process happen. And I feel like that part is a bit underexplored. I think we could have seen more from that, because there are decisions made in this film and some of the rules, and especially towards the end of the film, things happen. And I think if you'd known a lot more about, you know, how this whole world works, you kind of know a bit more about when certain characters make decisions, what that might lead to. I'd already mentioned earlier about the Hunger Games, and I really liked that film, but what that film did very, very well is it allowed you to get to know some of these characters before they went into like the arena, and this film didn't. So although I praised it for jumping straight in at the deep end and getting you straight onto this walk, which is really great, that part of the film unfortunately did suffer as a result of it. Which leads me on to the ending. I wasn't a big fan of it. It is surprising, the ending. I don't want to give anything away, but where you might think it might be a bit too predictable, I think they made a choice to make it a little bit less predictable. And I don't know, the feeling I got at the end of the film, I was a little bit like, okay, it would have made it sense if you'd went with this other character, you went with this character, and they told you early on, or halfway through the film, they told you something about their sort of motivations, and then when this decision is made at the end, it kind of goes against what they were talking about, what that character would have made a sacrifice for. But I was left wondering in this film, like, why did these guys even joined up in the first place? Because I never really got like the desperation of what their lives are like to make them want to do this in the first place. The only part of the outside world you see is what they see when they're going on the walk. And all I saw was, as they were passing farms and through towns and cities, you saw people watching them from the side of the road, and they were like fully clothed, and they didn't look like poor beggars on the street. Raymond's mum drove him down there by car, so she has a car. If they were walking by and you saw people just starving on the side of the road, then you might sort of understand, okay, I get why you're in this walk. But because we never saw anybody like that, everybody we saw just looked quite normal, it had me at a loss as to why they would be in this walk. Final rating. I thought the movie successfully delivered a powerful, unsettling experience that I somehow found fun and enjoyable despite how bleak the movie was. Lawrence's direction was steady and unflinching, and the two main leads of Cooper and David were exceptional along with the rest of the cast. It was surprising for a film that was walking and talking that this film didn't have any pacing issues for me, because I felt invested in the whole experience. It really took me along for the journey. In fact, they do say about a journey, it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey along the way. I think this sums up this film perfectly. As you go along on this walk, that is the absolute best part of the film. The ending for me was okay, but it wasn't great. But overall, I really enjoyed the film, and I do recommend you go and see it. I'm giving The Long Walk 4 stars. Have you seen The Long Walk? Is this a film you enjoyed or not enjoyed? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really want to know. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you found the review helpful. If you did, do leave us a like and subscribe, as it really does help out the channel. Of course, you can check out my other playlists, which include other movie reviews, movie attractions, movie locations, and movie rankings, and loads more content. As always, guys, thank you again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.